Today we're gonna try a bike from a brand that I have never personally ridden on this YouTube channel, but we have had this brand on the channel thanks to my friend, Mr. Nate Hills. Without further ado, the brand that started in California, but everybody thinks started in Colorado because that's where they're from now. Let's welcome in Yeti Cycles to the party. This video is proudly sponsored by my friends over at Jensen USA. Jensen is a great dealer for Yeti cycles. They have Yeti cycles in stock now. And I've got a link in the YouTube description below over to Jensen USA. Anything you purchase will directly help support my channel. Thanks in advance. Furthermore, I'm also sponsored by P&W Components, Industry 9, and Shimano. Let's jump into unboxing this thing, building it up with my personal selection of parts, and hopefully we can hit the trails and get a little steady. All right, here goes nothing. I don't even know what color this bike is gonna be. I just know it's a Yeti SB130 Lunch Ride. Oh, sick, it's turquoise. I just feel like if you have a Yeti, it needs to be turquoise because come on, it's Yeti. Waha, look at that. I am gonna build this thing up as I would any of my personal bikes. Not only am I sponsored by a couple really good companies, P&W Components, Industry 9, Shimano, all my bikes have been set up with those parts for the last few years. It's what I'm personally used to. By keeping those all the same from bike to bike to bike, it eliminates a lot of the extra stuff you can notice and kind of concentrates all the perceptions down to the bread and butter of a bike, the frame, the geometry, the suspension characteristics. I think that's most of a new bike. I have a game plan. Sorry, Barb and Olive. I'm stoked to see 170 cranks becoming more of the norm, but I am extra stoked that I got some 165 crank. 32 tooth chain ring, hopefully that fits. I'm a little nervous. It's been a few years since I last plated the press fit bottom bracket. Oh, we fit. And then I get firsthand experience of what it's like to actually change shift housing in this bike. Oh, was this in the top hole or the bottom hole? Do you remember? Try the top hole. That was in the other hole. Right here, that's a sneaky little entrance. Look at that. Got the P&W Components range K-dub handlebar and the range stem. I think this is a 50. Big thanks to my friends at Industry 9. They just sent these. These just arrived yesterday. Yes! That looks rad. Oh man, that looks good. Got 2 spare spokes. That is a nice looking wheel. It's quieter. This wheel set is actually a little bit different than what I've been running for the last year and a half. This is the Enduro 315 wheel set. Same name, same carbon, WeAre1 composites rim, same Hydra hub. But this time we've gone with 24 spokes front and rear instead of 32 holes. The guys at i9 were saying that most of them personally have gone down to 24 hole drilling with carbon rims because the strength is so much higher with the carbon rim than the aluminum rim. I've had really good luck with these aluminum spokes, which is something I thought I would never ever say. And they don't use a traditional nipple and spoke setup. It's just one piece coming all the way through. I like the ride quality. They're really stiff. They're quite light. They look rad. These are killer wheels. We just tested a 2.6 size tire because I really like running these 2.6s. Doesn't fit. So I'm gonna run a 2.4 WTB Judge TCS Tough Fast Rolling. Yes. So we're running 12 speed Shimano. Same as SRAM, except one better. Hey, we'll work with the 203 rotor. Cool. If you think that is one clean setup, hit the subscribe button below. We could probably go, what, a little tighter? Oh, yes! Oh man, orange on turquoise on pink. You think folks are gonna dig this color combo? There is a hole in the bottom of the frame with a cover over it. We're gonna need to remove that cover because we're swapping seat posts. There we go. All right.
Have you ever ridden a bike that just completely blows your expectations out of the water? Well, I've had 2 of these over the last year. The Rocky Mountain Altitude was the first, and the other Well, it was this little thing, the SB130 Lunch Ride. My favorite thing about the SB130 is the geometry. The length of the front end just feels right. It's one of the longest bikes I've ridden, but it's also one of the best cornering. The head angle is spot on, not the slackest on paper, but with that long front end, it'll hold just about any line to which you're willing to commit. Combined with the unique feel of the rear suspension, this bike feels like a bobsled that can sort of hover above the trail and then reset its direction when needed. This is supposed to just be a first look and unboxing video, but you know what? I've ridden this bike in 3 states now, so I'll just go ahead and spill a few beans about how it rides in this video here. On flow trails, the bike rides like a canoe down a stream, gracefully gliding through the turns and with really solid mannerisms on takeoffs and landings. The rear suspension of the SB130 is unlike anything I've ridden before. It's more supportive from rider inputs, and bone stock, this shock setup is plenty progressive for my needs. Literally, for the first time in years, I haven't had to open this rear shock up to see how many more volume reducers I'll need to add. Yeti really got the progressivity right on this bike. At only 160 millimeters of travel, the Fox 36 RC2 isn't anything huge. I've been on a 170 millimeter 36 on my Ripmos and on a 170 millimeter 38 fork on the Altitude. As I mentioned, Yeti Cycles calls Colorado home. Well, I wasn't able to make it to Colorado to ride this thing in its home state, but I was able to ride it in northern Arizona, which isn't that far from Colorado. Between the rain and the snow, I was able to get some great views, but more importantly, some awesome rides on the new Yeti.
Kind of jets you forwards. Oh, rocket ship bike.
I did get to ride this bike on a ton of rocks by heading down to the south end of the state. Now, the rocks are where this bike really starts to shine. The bike does great on flow trails, but the way the suspension design works out, I felt a really unique sensation through rock gardens that I hadn't felt before. I always get this question in the comments, and I should address it in more of my videos, but I am just over 5'8" tall, 174 centimeters, and this is a size medium. What makes the SB130 really special is its feel through the rocks. The bike has enough forgiveness to take the edge off the rough stuff, and then it ends up riding with the rear wheel pretty high in the travel, which keeps the wheel from dropping down into the bumps. The sensation was that I was riding on the top edges of bumps and rocks, never really getting too deep in the travel on these successive rough hits. I've been really liking that, as it means there's plenty of travel on tap when there's then a big drop off for a big landing. In regards to the frame's carbon layup and torsional rigidity, I'm going to withhold any judgment until I get some rides in on my normal 32-spoke Industry 9 wheels. I'm also going to try those 24-spoke wheels on some of my other bikes and get a bit more of a comparison. I know I said I like to swap things over to keep them consistent, and I went ahead and threw something new in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do it right. And this isn't a review video, this is a first look anyhow.
Yes! Oh my goodness! Yeah! I kind of feel like I can get away with a lot on this thing.
This bike does corner amazing, and it actually rewards an aggressive hand, allowing additional cornering prowess to come out when it's pushed the hardest.
So much chaos.
The long, slack bikes respond awesome to my riding style of leaning, pumping, and throwing in the occasional cutty. With that smaller 2.4 rear tire, this all kind of makes sense too.
Cactus! Ho, ho, ho. Those are some jumps.
If you want to learn more about the Yeti SB130, I have a link in the YouTube description below over to Jensen USA. Anything you purchase from Jensen will directly help support my channel, so thanks in advance. If you enjoyed this video, please do hit that subscribe button, and I'd love to hear your questions about the SB130 in those internet comments down below. Aren't the comments just the best part of the internet? Yes, they definitely are. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll catch you in the next video.
Oh. Okay, that was fun. I got a really good bad idea.
If If you've seen my videos before, you're probably recognizing this feature right here. It's called the waterfall in South Mountain. And good old Rob Drew showed me this line and how to make it pretty easy to pedal on up. Big shout out to Rob. He's got a YouTube channel as well. And I hope on my next trip to Phoenix, I can ride with Rob again and maybe we can session this hill climb again.
That's kind of a long track stand. Yes! That's kind of cool. Like, share, subscribe, something like that. Mega cheater point. These clip-in pedals. Holy cow, you can just pedal through all these bumps. Forget about smoothness, put the power down. Normally I ride flat pedals. I can't believe how much easier it is with those pedals, wow.